The ship's alarm broke the quiet of the night shift. Captain Ryan Mitchell sat up in his chair and looked at the main screen. His vessel, the Horizon's Edge, had picked up something strange. A signal was coming from a nearby planet, and it did not sound like anything they had heard before. "What is it?" Ryan asked, running a hand through his short brown hair. He was tired, but the sudden alert made his heart beat faster. Kate Barnes, his first officer, moved quickly to check the computer. She was a careful woman who always thought twice before making decisions. "It's a distress call, Captain, coming from Zarthal Prime. But the pattern is unusual. I've never seen anything like it." Ryan stood and walked closer to the screen. The planet below them was covered in purple forests and silver cities that gleamed in the light of two suns. They had known about this planet for months, but had never made contact. The people there, called the Velkara, kept to themselves. They did not welcome visitors. "Should we check it out?" asked Danny Cooper, the ship's language expert. He was young and eager, always ready for something new. Kate shook her head. "I don't think it's a good idea. We don't know their customs. We could make things worse." Ryan thought about it. They were explorers, not soldiers. Their mission was to learn about new worlds and make friends with other species, but they also had rules. They could not force contact with aliens who wanted to be left alone. Still, someone down there was asking for help. "We're going down," Ryan said finally. "Prepare a small team. Just 4 of us, Kate, Danny, and Lisa." Lisa Grant was their security officer, a strong woman with quick reflexes and a calm mind. She nodded when she heard her name. "I'll get the weapons ready, just in case." An hour later, their small shuttle broke through the purple clouds and landed near the source of the signal. The city around them was beautiful but strange. Buildings rose like twisted trees, made of a material that seemed to be alive. Creatures moved through the streets, walking on 6 legs. They had hard shells that shined like metal and large eyes that saw in many directions at once. These were the Velkara. They looked like giant insects, but they moved with purpose and intelligence. Some wore clothes made of soft fabric. Others carried tools or devices that Ryan did not recognize. A group of Velkara soldiers approached the shuttle. They carried long spears and wore armor decorated with complex patterns. The lead soldier made a clicking sound that the computer tried to translate. "You are the humans," the translation said in a flat voice. "The Queen will see you." Ryan exchanged glances with his team. This was moving fast. They followed the soldiers through winding streets until they reached a massive palace. It was built into the side of a mountain, with walls that seemed to grow from the rock itself. Inside, the palace was cool and dark. Strange lights floated in the air, giving off a soft glow. They walked through long hallways decorated with images of Velkara history. Ryan saw battles, ceremonies, and what looked like great leaders from the past. Finally, they entered a large chamber. At the far end, sitting on a throne made of crystal, was Queen Zirith. She was smaller than the soldiers, but wore a crown of silver metal that marked her as the ruler. Her shell was a deep blue color, rare among her people. "Welcome, humans," she said through the translator. Her voice sounded young but firm. "I am glad you came. I did not know if you would answer." "We received your distress call," Ryan said, stepping forward. "What do you need help with?" Before the Queen could answer, a loud crash echoed through the chamber. Ryan spun around to see masked Velkara rushing in from side doors. They moved fast, faster than he expected. In their hands were bows with arrows already notched. "Protect the Queen!" shouted one of the royal guards. Everything happened in seconds. The assassins fired their arrows toward the throne. The Queen's guards tried to block them, but were too slow. Ryan saw the danger, and his body moved before his mind could think. He was not supposed to get involved in alien politics. This was not his fight. But he ran anyway. He reached the queen just as the first arrows flew through the air. He pulled her down behind the throne, using his own body to shield her. 2 arrows hit the stone where she had been sitting. Others whistled past his head, so close he could feel the air move. Lisa was already firing her weapon at the assassins. The bright blue stun bolts dropped 3 of them instantly. Kate helped the royal guards push back the attackers, while Danny pulled out his communicator to call for backup. The fight was over in less than a minute. The assassins were either stunned or fleeing. Royal guards chased after them while others secured the chamber. Ryan slowly stood up, his heart pounding. He looked down at Queen Zireth, who stared up at him with her large, multifaceted eyes. "You saved my life," she said quietly. "You did not have to do that." Ryan helped her to her feet. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. "No, thanks to you." She looked around at the chaos in her throne room. "This is not the first time they have tried to kill me. My people are divided. Some want to stay isolated forever. I want to join the galaxy, to learn from others. They see this as betrayal." Kate walked over, concern on her face. "Captain, we need to leave. This is their internal matter. We can't take sides." Ryan knew she was right. But he also saw something in the young queen's eyes. She was trying to do something good for her people, and others wanted her dead for it. He understood that kind of struggle. "How many times have they attacked you?" he asked the queen. "5 times in the last 2 months, Zireth answered. "My guards try their best, but the assassins are always 1 step ahead. They know the palace better than anyone." Ryan made a decision that he knew might cause problems later. "What if we helped you? Just for a while, until you can find who is behind this." Kate grabbed his arm. "Ryan, we can't—" "We can," he said firmly. "We're here to make alliances, right? To help other species? Well, here's one that needs help." The queen looked at him for a long moment. "You would do this, even knowing it might make you enemies among my people?" "Yes," Ryan said simply. Queen Zireth nodded slowly. "Then I accept your help, Captain Ryan Mitchell, and I promise when this is over, I will make sure your kindness is rewarded." Ryan did not know it then, but those words would change everything. The palace became Ryan's new home for the next 2 weeks. He and his team moved into rooms near the queen's chambers, always staying close in case another attack came. The Velkara servants brought them strange food that tasted like sweet metal, but they learned to eat it without complaint. Danny spent most of his time in the palace library, studying the Velkara language and culture. He sat surrounded by crystal tablets that showed moving pictures and symbols. One morning, he came running to find Ryan with excitement on his face. "I figured it out," Danny said, nearly out of breath. "I know why they use arrows instead of laser guns or plasma weapons." Ryan looked up from the security reports he was reading. "Tell me." "It's their religion," Danny explained. "The palace is considered sacred ground. Their ancient laws say that modern weapons cannot be used here. Only traditional weapons like bows, spears, and blades. If someone breaks this rule, they lose all honor, and their family is shamed forever. So the assassins have to use arrows if they want to kill the queen here," Ryan said, understanding now. "That's why her guards couldn't stop them. They follow the same rules." "Exactly," Danny nodded. "But here's the thing. We're not Velkara. Those rules don't apply to us." Ryan thought about this. It gave them an advantage, but it also meant they were breaking sacred traditions just by being here. Some of the Velkara already looked at them with anger in their eyes. Lisa had been busy training the queen's guards in human fighting methods. She worked with them in the palace courtyard, showing them how to move faster and work as a team. The Velkara guards were strong and loyal, but they fought as individuals. Lisa taught them to protect each other, to form walls of shields, to think like a unit. "They're good learners," Lisa told Ryan one evening. "Give me another week and they'll be twice as effective." Kate was handling the political side of things. She met with the Queen's advisors and tried to understand who could be trusted. It was hard work. The Velkara had complicated relationships, with old families and new alliances all competing for power. "I found something interesting," Kate said during their daily meeting. "There's a big ceremony coming up in 5 days. It's called the Ceremonial Gathering. Every noble family in the kingdom has to attend." "Will the Queen be there?" Ryan asked. "She has to be," Kate answered. "If she doesn't show up, it means she's weak or afraid. She'll lose support from the neutral families." Ryan felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "It's a perfect time for an assassination." "I know," Kate said quietly. "I tried to convince her to skip it, but she won't. She says her people need to see her strong and unafraid." That evening, Ryan went to speak with Queen Zireth. He found her in her private garden, a place filled with plants that glowed in the dark. She was looking at a pool of still water, deep in thought. "Your officer told you about the gathering," the Queen said without turning around. She always seemed to know when he was near. "Yes," Ryan said, walking to stand beside her. "It's dangerous." "Everything I do is dangerous," Zireth replied. Her translator made her voice sound calm, but Ryan had learned to read her body language. The way her antennae moved showed she was worried. "If I hide, they win. My people will think I cannot protect them." "What if I stood with you during the ceremony?" Ryan asked. "Right beside you." Zireth turned to look at him with her large eyes. "That would cause a scandal. No outsider has ever entered the sacred hall. It would anger many people." "Are those people trying to kill you?" "Some of them. Probably yes." Ryan smiled a little. "Then we're not making things worse. Let me do this. My team and I, we can protect you better if we're close." The Queen was quiet for a long moment. Then she made a clicking sound that Danny had taught him meant agreement. "Very well, Captain. You may stand with me. But you must wear ceremonial clothing over your armor, and you must understand the risks. If something goes wrong, many of my people will blame you and all humans." "I understand," Ryan said. Over the next few days, preparations began. The palace staff made special clothes for Ryan and his team. They were beautiful garments made of silver fabric decorated with blue symbols. But underneath, Ryan wore his combat armor. It was thin and flexible, designed to stop most weapons, but he did not know if it could stop Velkara arrows. Lisa ran drills with the Queen's guards, preparing them for every possible scenario. Danny memorized all the ceremonial protocols, so they would not accidentally break any rules. Kate set up communication devices hidden in their clothes so they could talk to each other during the ceremony. The night before the gathering, Ryan could not sleep. He walked through the quiet palace halls, thinking about what might happen tomorrow. He found Lisa doing the same thing. "Nervous?" she asked. "A little," Ryan admitted. "We're putting ourselves in the middle of someone else's war." "That's what we signed up for," Lisa said. "Helping people, making the galaxy safer. Sometimes that means taking risks." "What if we fail? What if she dies anyway?" Lisa looked at him seriously. "Then we fail knowing we tried everything we could. But we won't fail, Captain. I won't let that happen." The morning of the ceremonial gathering arrived too quickly. Ryan and his team dressed in their ceremonial clothes, checking their hidden armor and weapons one last time. Queen Zireth came to see them before they left for the sacred hall. "I want to thank you," she said to all of them. "Whatever happens today, you have shown me that there is hope for unity between species. You barely know me, yet you risk everything to help." "That's what friends do," Danny said simply. The Queen made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Friends, yes. I hope that is what we become." The sacred hall was enormous. It could hold thousands of Velkara, and today it was full. Noble families in their finest clothes filled the seats. The air hummed with clicking and buzzing as they talked among themselves. Many stopped speaking when they saw Ryan and his team enter with the Queen. The ceremony required them to stand on a high platform where everyone could see them. Ryan stood to the Queen's right with Lisa on her left. Kate and Danny positioned themselves at the corners watching the crowd. The ritual began with ancient songs and prayers. Ryan's translator could not keep up with all the words, but he understood the meaning. This was about unity, about all the Velkara families coming together in peace. He scanned the crowd, looking for anything suspicious. There were too many faces, too many places to hide. His hand stayed near the small weapon hidden under his ceremonial robe. The ceremony went on for an hour. Then came the traditional blessing, where everyone had to remain perfectly still while the high priest said prayers. Ryan saw the Queen's guards freeze in place, following the ancient protocol. That was when he saw them. Small movements in the crowd, figures shifting position, reaching under their robes. His combat training screamed warnings in his mind. "Get ready," he whispered into his hidden communicator. Kate's voice came back. "I see them too. At least 20 assassins, maybe more." Ryan's heart began to beat faster. This was not just an attack. This was an army. They had been planning this for a long time, getting their people into position, waiting for the exact moment when the guards could not move. The assassins revealed themselves all at once, throwing off their outer robes. In their hands were bows, already loaded with arrows. They stood in a circle around the platform, giving the Queen nowhere to run. The first arrows flew toward them like deadly rain. Ryan's body moved on pure instinct. He had one job now: keep the Queen alive. Everything else could wait. He threw himself in front of Queen Zirith just as the arrow storm began. Time seemed to slow down as Ryan moved. He could see each arrow coming toward them, dark shapes against the bright lights of the sacred hall. His armor would stop most of them, but not all. The Velkara arrows were designed to pierce their own armor, and human technology was not that different. The first arrow hit his chest with a loud crack. The armor held. The second one hit his shoulder, and again the armor stopped it. But the third arrow found a gap where his arm met his chest. Pain exploded through him as the sharp point drove deep into his flesh. Ryan did not scream. He did not move away. He kept his body between the arrows and Queen Zirith, using himself as a living shield. More arrows came, 12, 24. His armor cracked under the assault. Another arrow pierced his left leg, and he felt his knee buckle. He locked it in place, refusing to fall. Behind him, he could hear the Queen making a high-pitched sound of distress. "No! Move away!" "Stay down," Ryan managed to say through clenched teeth. Another arrow hit his side, sliding between the armor plates. The pain was terrible, but he had felt worse during his military training. He could handle this. He had to handle this. Lisa was already in motion. The ceremonial rules did not matter anymore. She pulled out her weapon and fired rapid stun blasts into the crowd. Blue bolts of energy dropped assassins one after another, but there were so many of them, and they kept firing arrows from all directions. "Danny, get the Queen out of here!" Lisa shouted. Danny ran to the platform, keeping low to avoid the arrows. Kate was right behind him, firing her own weapon at the assassins who tried to block their path. The ceremonial crowd was panicking now, running in all directions, making it hard to see who was an enemy and who was just a scared noble. Ryan felt another arrow slam into his back. This one went deep, and he tasted blood in his mouth. His vision started to blur, but he could not stop now. He would not stop until the Queen was safe. "Go!" he shouted to Zirith. "Please, go now!" He felt her small hands grab his arm. "You are dying for me," she said, and her voice sounded broken. "Not dying," Ryan said, forcing a smile even though she probably could not understand human expressions. "Just borrowing some arrows. Now move!" Danny reached them and pulled the Queen away. She resisted, trying to stay with Ryan, but Danny was stronger. "We have to go, Your Majesty. Don't let his sacrifice be for nothing." That convinced her. Zirith allowed Danny to guide her off the platform and toward the exit. Kate cleared a path through the chaos, stunning anyone who got too close. Lisa provided cover fire, her weapon never stopping. Ryan tried to follow them, but his leg gave out. He fell to one knee, arrows sticking out of him like some kind of terrible decoration. He counted them in his head. 7. No, 8. Maybe more. It was hard to think clearly now. The royal guards finally broke free from their ceremonial freeze. Seeing their queen in danger released them from the ancient protocols. They charged at the assassins with fury, their spears and blades flashing in the light. The assassins had not expected this. They had planned for frozen guards, not angry warriors. The tide of battle turned quickly. Without the element of surprise, the assassins were no match for trained soldiers. They tried to retreat, but the exits were blocked by more guards who had come running when they heard the noise. Within minutes, most of the assassins were either captured or dead. Ryan watched it all happen from his position on the platform. He could not stand anymore. His body felt heavy, like someone had filled his veins with sand. An arrow was stuck in his shoulder, another in his leg, more in his side and back. He tried to count them again, but kept losing track. A Velkara guard approached him carefully. The soldier looked at the arrows and made a clicking sound that Ryan's fading translator said meant respect or honor. The guard gently helped Ryan lie down on his back. "The Queen?" Ryan managed to ask. "Safe," the guard answered. "You saved her. You took the arrows meant for her life." Ryan smiled weakly. "Good. That's good." More guards came, along with medical staff carrying strange devices. They started working on him immediately, but Ryan could barely feel their touch. The pain was fading, which he knew was not a good sign. When you stopped feeling pain, it meant your body was shutting down. He heard a commotion and turned his head slightly. Queen Zirith was pushing through the guards, refusing to leave even though Danny and Kate were trying to get her to safety. "Let me through!" she commanded. Her voice had the tone of absolute authority. The guards moved aside instantly. She knelt beside Ryan, her large eyes looking at all the arrows in his body. She reached out with one of her hands and gently touched his face. Her skin was cool and smooth. Nothing like human skin, but the gesture was kind. "Why did you do this?" she asked softly. "You are not Velkara. This is not your fight. You could have let me die and return to your ship." Ryan tried to answer, but his mouth would not work right. He coughed, and blood came out. The medical staff made urgent clicking sounds and worked faster. "Don't try to speak," Zirith said. "Save your strength." But Ryan needed to answer. He needed her to understand. With great effort, he whispered, "You were trying to do something good. Couldn't let them stop you." Zirith made a sound that the translator could not convert. Maybe it was crying. Did Velkara cry? Ryan did not know. His vision was getting darker now, like someone was slowly turning off the lights. "I will not forget this," the Queen said, her voice fierce. "I swear, by all the ancient codes and by my crown, I will make this right. You will be rewarded for what you have done here today. The Kethvar bond is formed between us. Do you understand? The Kethvar." Ryan did not understand what that meant, but he nodded anyway. It seemed important to her. Lisa appeared at his other side, her face showing worry, but also pride. "You did it, Captain. You crazy fool, you actually did it." "Always said I'd take a bullet for my crew," Ryan whispered. "Guess arrows count too." Kate was there now, pressing something against one of his wounds. "Stay with us, Ryan. Don't you dare die. That's an order from your first officer." "Can't disobey orders," Ryan said, his voice barely audible now. "That would be mutiny." Danny was speaking quickly to the Velkara doctors, translating human anatomy and trying to help them understand how to treat Ryan's injuries. The doctors worked with incredible speed, using tools that glowed and made humming sounds. Ryan felt them removing arrows, sealing wounds, injecting him with substances that made his whole body feel cold. "Will he live?" Queen Zirith demanded. One of the doctors answered in clicks and whistles. Danny translated. "They don't know. He's lost a lot of blood. Some of the arrows hit important organs. They're doing everything they can, but human biology is different from ours. They're not sure their medicine will work." "Make it work," the Queen commanded. "Use all our resources. Contact every medical expert in the kingdom. I do not care what it costs. This human must live." Ryan wanted to tell her not to worry so much. He had been hurt before and always recovered, but his body would not listen to him anymore. The darkness was getting stronger, pulling him down into sleep. Maybe it would be okay to rest for just a minute. Just a short rest, and then he would get up and make sure everyone was okay. He heard Queen Zirith's voice one more time, distant now like she was calling from far away. "Do not leave us, Captain Ryan Mitchell. You have earned a reward beyond measure. You must live to claim it." Ryan tried to smile, tried to answer, but the darkness was complete now. He fell into it without fear, trusting that his team would handle things while he was gone. They were good people, the best crew he could have asked for. They would take care of the Queen. The last thing he felt before consciousness left him completely was the Queen's cool hand holding his, refusing to let go even as the doctors worked to save his life. In his final moment of awareness, he thought it was nice not to die alone, even if the hand holding his belonged to an alien queen from a world he barely understood. Then there was nothing but peaceful darkness and the distant hope that he might wake up again someday. Ryan woke up slowly, like swimming to the surface from deep water. Everything was blurry at first. He could see light, shapes moving, but nothing made sense. His body felt strange, like it belonged to someone else. There was no pain, which surprised him. He remembered pain, lots of it. "He's waking up," a familiar voice said. Kate. That was Kate's voice. Ryan blinked several times until his vision cleared. He was in a room with white walls that seemed to glow softly. Strange machines surrounded his bed, making quiet humming sounds. Kate stood beside him, looking tired but happy. She had dark circles under her eyes like she had not slept in days. "Hey there, Captain," she said with a smile. "Welcome back." "How long?" Ryan asked. His voice came out rough and dry. 3 weeks, Kate answered. She picked up a cup with a straw and helped him drink some water. "You've been unconscious for 3 weeks. The doctors said it was touch and go for a while. We almost lost you twice." Ryan tried to sit up, but his body would not cooperate. Kate gently pushed him back down. "Easy. You're not ready for that yet. The Velkara doctors did amazing work, but you still need time to heal." "The Queen?" Ryan asked, the memories flooding back. "The arrows. The attack, using his body as a shield." "Safe," Kate assured him. "Thanks to you. Every single one of those arrows was meant for her. The doctors pulled out 17 arrows from your body, Ryan. 17. You shouldn't be alive, but somehow you are." Ryan closed his eyes and let out a long breath. 17 arrows. No wonder he felt like he had been hit by a truck. "The assassins?" "All captured or killed," Kate said. "The investigation found that they were part of a large conspiracy led by several noble families. The traditionalists had been planning this for months. But after what you did, they lost all their support. Even the families who were neutral before are now supporting the Queen." "That's good," Ryan said. Kate pulled up a chair and sat down beside his bed. "Ryan, you need to understand something. What you did has changed everything. The whole galaxy saw it. The ceremony was being broadcast live to all the Velkara worlds, and to dozens of other species too. Everyone watched you throw yourself in front of those arrows. You're famous now. Humanity is famous. People are calling us the most honorable species in known space. Ryan felt embarrassed. I just did what anyone would do. No, Kate said firmly. You did what a hero would do. And the Velkara have not forgotten. Queen Zirith has been here every day checking on you. She barely sleeps. Her advisors say she feels responsible for what happened to you. Before Ryan could respond, the door opened. Queen Zirith entered, followed by Danny and Lisa. The queen moved quickly to his bedside, her large eyes examining him with what Ryan had learned to recognize as concern. You are awake, she said, and even through the translator, Ryan could hear relief in her voice. The doctor said it might happen today. I am glad they were right. I'm hard to kill, Ryan said with a weak smile. Zirith made a clicking sound that meant amusement. Yes, I am learning this about humans. You are fragile in some ways, but incredibly strong in others. She paused, and her tone became serious. I owe you my life, Captain Ryan Mitchell. Without you, I would be dead, and my dream of unity with other species would have died with me. You don't owe me anything, Ryan said. That is not true, Zirith replied. In my culture, when someone saves the life of another at great personal risk, a sacred bond is formed. We call it the HFY. It is the highest honor, rarely given, and it comes with serious obligations. Danny stepped forward. He had been studying Velkara culture even more intensely during Ryan's recovery. Captain, the HFY is a big deal, really big. The Queen is basically saying that she owes you a life debt, and in their culture that means she has to offer you a reward equal to the sacrifice you made. Ryan looked confused. I don't want a reward. I just wanted to help. I know, Queen Zirith said gently. And that makes the HFY even more powerful. You expected nothing and gave everything. By our laws and traditions, I must offer you a reward, and it must be worthy of what you did. You saved the life of a queen. You took 17 arrows meant for me. You nearly died to protect someone you barely knew. Lisa leaned against the wall with her arms crossed. The Queen is basically saying you can ask for almost anything, Captain. Technology, wealth, land, power. The Velkara have resources that humanity has been trying to get for decades. Ryan felt overwhelmed. He had not thought about rewards or payments. He had just seen someone in danger and reacted. I need to think about this. Of course, Zirith said. Take all the time you need to heal. But know this. The HFY cannot be refused. It is our way. To refuse would dishonor both of us. When you are ready, there will be a formal ceremony, and you will make your request. Over the next few days, Ryan slowly regained his strength. The Velkara medicine worked differently than human medicine, but it was incredibly effective. His wounds healed faster than should have been possible. The doctor said he would make a full recovery, though he would have scars from the arrows. Kate, Danny, and Lisa visited him every day, and they talked about what he should ask for. The discussions went on for hours. You should ask for their advanced medicine, Kate suggested. Think about how many human lives we could save with their healing technology. Or their energy technology, Danny added. The Velkara can generate power from almost nothing. That could solve Earth's energy problems forever. Lisa had a different idea. Ask for their ship designs. Their vessels can travel 10 times faster than ours. That would change human exploration completely. Ryan listened to all of their ideas, but something felt wrong about asking for payment. He had not saved the Queen to get rich or powerful. He had done it because it was the right thing to do. One evening, Queen Zirith came to visit him alone. She sat in the chair beside his bed, and for a while they just sat in comfortable silence. What will you ask for? She finally said. My advisors are making lists of what we can offer. Technology, territory, resources. Name it, and it can be yours. What do you think I should ask for? Ryan countered. Zirith tilted her head, thinking. If you were Velkara, You would ask for something that benefits your family and brings honor to your name. But you are not Velkara. You are human. And in the time I have known you, I have learned that humans value different things. What do we value? Ryan asked, curious. Connection, Xerath said simply. You came to a strange world, risked your life for someone you just met, all because you believed in the idea of species working together. You value friendship and cooperation more than power or wealth. Ryan realized she was right. That was exactly why he had made the choices he did. The ceremony is in 2 days, Xerath said, standing to leave. I hope you will ask for something that makes you happy, Captain. You have earned the right to be selfish. But as Ryan lay in his bed that night, he knew he would not ask for anything selfish. An idea was forming in his mind, something that felt right, something that honored both the sacrifice he had made and the values he believed in. He just hoped the Queen would understand when he made his request. The ceremony took place in the same sacred hall where Ryan had nearly died, but this time the hall was filled with peace instead of violence. Thousands of Velkara nobles sat in their seats, and screens showed the event being broadcast across the galaxy. Representatives from dozens of alien species had come to witness the HFY reward ceremony. Ryan walked slowly down the center aisle, still recovering from his injuries but strong enough to stand. He wore formal human clothing, a simple but dignified uniform that represented Earth. His crew walked behind him. Kate, Danny, and Lisa all wore their best uniforms too, proud to support their captain. The human government was watching from Earth. Ryan's superiors had sent him messages with suggestions about what to ask for. Military technology, medical advances, faster ships. Everyone had an opinion about what would benefit humanity the most. But Ryan had made his decision, and he had not told anyone what it was. Not even his crew. Queen Xerath sat on her throne at the front of the hall. She wore her crown and formal robes, looking every bit the powerful ruler she was. But when her eyes met Ryan's, he saw warmth there, not just the cold formality of ceremony. Ryan reached the platform and stood before her. A Velkara priest began speaking in their ancient language, explaining the sacred nature of the HFY bond. Danny translated quietly for the humans watching. The HFY is formed when one being sacrifices everything to save another, the priest said. It is a bond that cannot be broken, an obligation that must be fulfilled. Captain Ryan Mitchell of Earth took 17 arrows meant for Queen Xerath. He nearly gave his life so that she might live. For this act of ultimate bravery and selflessness, the HFY is invoked. The hall went completely silent. Every eye was on Ryan, waiting to hear what he would ask for. Queen Xerath stood and spoke clearly so all could hear. Captain Ryan Mitchell, you have earned the right to make a request. By the ancient laws of the Velkara people, I am bound to grant it if it is within my power. Speak now, and tell us what you wish. Ryan took a deep breath. This was it. The moment that would define the relationship between humans and Velkara for generations to come. Your Majesty, Ryan began, his voice steady. I do not wish for technology or wealth or power. Those things are temporary, and they do not honor what happened between us. A murmur went through the crowd. The human representatives watching from Earth looked confused and worried. What was he doing? Ryan continued. What I ask for is something more valuable. I ask for a true alliance between humanity and the Velkara people. Not an alliance based on debt or obligation, but one built on genuine friendship and mutual respect. Queen Xerath's antennae moved in a way that Danny had learned meant surprise and interest. She gestured for Ryan to continue. I ask that you share your knowledge with us gradually, Ryan said, allowing humanity to earn it through cooperation and shared work. I ask that Velkara advisors come to Earth and work alongside our scientists, and that human students be allowed to study on your worlds. I ask for cultural exchanges, for our peoples to learn from each other, to grow together not as master and servant, but as true partners." The silence in the hall was absolute. No one had expected this. The traditional Kethvar requests were for personal gain, for power, for riches. But Ryan was asking for something that would benefit both species equally. Queen Zirith stood perfectly still for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked every Velkara in the hall. She removed her crown and set it carefully on her throne. She stepped down from the platform and walked to stand directly in front of Ryan, meeting him as an equal, not as a queen addressing a subject. "You continue to surprise me, Captain," she said softly. "You could have asked for technology that would make you the most powerful human alive. You could have asked for wealth beyond imagination. Instead, you ask for friendship." "Yes," Ryan said simply. "Because friendship is worth more than all of those things." Zirith made a sound that the translator said was laughter mixed with joy. "You honor the spirit of the Kethvar more than anyone in our history. By asking for partnership instead of payment, you prove the very ideals I hope to find in other species." She turned to face the assembled nobles and spoke in a voice filled with authority. "The High Council will vote on this request, as is our custom. But I make my position clear. This is exactly the kind of alliance our people need. Not one based on power, but one based on respect and mutual growth." The voting took less than an hour. The council members, moved by Ryan's request and the Queen's obvious approval, voted unanimously to accept his terms. An alliance would be formed, one that honored both human and Velkara values. But Queen Zirith was not finished. She returned to her throne and put her crown back on, speaking now with the full weight of her authority. "The Kethvar is satisfied," she announced. "But I wish to add my own gifts, freely given, not as payment, but as thanks from one friend to another." She gestured, and several Velkara advisors came forward carrying documents and devices. "I am assigning a Velkara exploration vessel and crew to work permanently alongside your ship, the Horizon's Edge. They will be your partners in space, sharing knowledge and protecting each other." Ryan felt his throat tighten with emotion. This was more than he had hoped for. "Furthermore," Zirith continued, "I am establishing the Mitchell Accord, named in your honor. This accord will govern all cooperation between our species. It will ensure that what you have started here today continues for generations. Schools will be built, research centers established, and our peoples will learn to understand each other not as aliens but as friends." The hall erupted in clicks and whistles, the Velkara way of showing approval. The human representatives watching from Earth were celebrating too, realizing that Ryan had secured something far more valuable than technology. He had secured a genuine partnership with one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Kate, Danny, and Lisa came forward to stand with Ryan. Kate had tears in her eyes. "You did it," she whispered. "You actually did it." "We did it," Ryan corrected. "All of us. This was a team effort." Danny laughed. "Just so you know, Captain, you just turned down enough wealth to buy a planet. I hope you realize that." "I know," Ryan said with a smile. "But I got something better." Lisa just nodded with approval. She understood what her captain had done and why. It was the choice a true leader would make. The ceremony concluded with a traditional Velkara meal where humans and Velkara ate together for the first time, sharing food and stories. Ryan found himself surrounded by nobles who wanted to thank him, to shake his hand, to express their gratitude for what he had done. Later that evening, as the celebrations continued, Ryan and Queen Zirith stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The two suns were setting, painting the sky in purple and gold. "Do you regret your choice?" Zirith asked. "You could have been the richest human alive." Ryan shook his head. "No regrets. What I asked for will benefit billions of people, not just me. That's worth more than any personal fortune." "The arrows you took," Zireth said quietly. "Do they still hurt?" "Sometimes," Ryan admitted. "The doctors say I might feel pain in those spots for the rest of my life. But it's okay. Every time I feel it, I'll remember why it happened. I'll remember that it was worth it." Zireth reached out and gently touched his shoulder where one of the arrows had struck. "I will never forget what you did for me. You barely knew me, yet you were willing to die so I could live." "That's what friends do," Ryan said, echoing Danny's words from weeks ago. "Yes," Zireth agreed. "That is what friends do. And now our peoples will be friends forever, thanks to you." A few days later, the Horizon's Edge prepared to leave Zarthal Prime. A Velkara vessel called the Star Wanderer moved into formation beside them. Its crew had volunteered to be humanity's partners, excited about exploring the galaxy together. Ryan stood on the bridge of his ship, looking at the planet below. So much had changed in just a few weeks. He had come here expecting to maybe make first contact, nothing more. Instead, he had nearly died, formed a sacred bond with an alien queen, and secured an alliance that would shape humanity's future. Kate stood beside him at the command station. "Ready to go home, Captain?" "Yes," Ryan said. "But we'll be back. This is just the beginning." As the two ships rose into space together, Ryan thought about the arrows that had pierced his body. The scars would fade but never disappear. Sometimes, late at night, they ached with a dull pain that reminded him of that terrible moment. But he would not change anything. Every arrow had been worth it. The pain was worth it. Because he had not just saved one life. He had saved an entire dream, a vision of species working together in harmony. Down on the planet, Queen Zireth stood in her garden, watching the ships disappear into the stars. She touched the special communication device the humans had given her, knowing she could reach Ryan anytime she needed to. She had hoped that opening her world to other species would bring good things. Captain Ryan Mitchell had proven her right. He had shown her that courage, honor, and friendship existed beyond the boundaries of her own people. The galaxy would never be the same. And it had all begun with one human's choice to step into the path of arrows meant for an alien queen. A choice made not for glory or reward, but simply because it was the right thing to do. That, Queen Zireth thought, was the true nature of humanity. And it gave her hope for the future of all species, working together among the stars.